Have you ever had like a thing where like you really liked something and then it just became too repetitive and everyone started using it, and now suddenly you're like you're starting to somewhat even hate this thing that you actually used to like? This is how I feel with Roblox Currency, okay? When I started playing Roblox as a itty bitty child, I loved tycoons. I don't know what it was about them. I think the progression was really fun, but I loved the idea of going into a game and just earning tons of money, right? That was really fun. The problem here is that now whenever I join some Roblox game, every currency implementation is exactly the same. You get some money and then you can spend that money, and there's nothing externally interesting about this currency system. So again, just to clarify, when I say currency, I don't mean Robux, right? I mean money that developers implement into their games. Now, some games don't have currencies, obviously, but the ones that do often do them in a very, very boring way, where it feels like it's just, yeah, you get cash, you spend cash. There's no bling to it. There's nothing fun. Like, you know, like, oh, I make cash, spend cash. It's just repetitive and it's boring. And I feel like every single Roblox game out there with this boring system could actually improve on it, right? So right now, look, if you're a game developer, you know, start taking notes, pull out some notebook or your notes app or whatever. If you're not a developer, keep watching, and this is especially important because I want every single person, even if you're not a developer, I want every single person to understand what is possible. I want you to see what developers are taking away from you when they implement another stupid and boring currency system. So for starters, we need to actually add some sort of currency to this little project because it's just a blank project. Nothing's here. My avatar is here. You know, he looks amazing. But when I say currency, right, like I said before, I mean like just cash, right? You know, in like a tycoon, you start playing and then it says, you know, your username, and then it also says like cash, and then you can see how much cash you have and how much cash the other players have. Well, we can actually script that in right now, and that's actually very easy to do. I'll just call this cash script, right? Basically, just whenever a new player joins the game, right? So that was actually a pretty smooth transition to begin scripting. Don't worry, I'm not gonna make it boring. I know a lot of people are like, the moment they start scripting, their like brain turns off and they just, you know, mimic whatever they're writing. I'll try to avoid doing that because it's unbelievably boring. But basically, whenever a new player gets added to the game, as in the player joins the game, we want to actually add a value that will track their cash, right? So we can say local cash is going to be an int value, right? So this is just an object in the game that is able to store a number as its value, right? And then we can set the name of this int value equal to cash, like so. And then I will parent it to the player, as in it's going to go inside of the player, right? So now if I, you know, go check my players folder, you know, this is me, the original lamp. Here we go. We can see cash, right? So int value cash. Right now I have 0 cash, unfortunately, but it's here, right? It's inside of my player. Whenever some other player joins the game, they will have their own cash as well. So now every player has their own unique cash. Amazing. Now, a small problem that you might have noticed is that it's not showing up on the leaderboard. And the easy way to fix this is just to add a folder, which I'll call leader, instance.new folder, and I will call this folder leaderstats, like so. I'm going to parent the cache inside of the leaderstats, and then I will parent the leader folder to the player. And so what that's going to do is now the cache should show up. Yep, there we go. So cache is 0. If I happen to, let's say, get a gajillion cash, so like so, there we go. Yeah, exactly, $999 bazillion. And just for fun, let's make 2 parts, okay? I'll name this part take, okay? And then I'll duplicate this part, and I'll name this part give. And you can probably already guess what I'm about to do, right? Whenever the player clicks on one of these parts, I want them to give or take away the cash, right? So let's say if the player clicks on the give part, he will receive some amount of cash, right? If, you know, but then if he clicks on the take part, then he will lose a certain amount of cash. And so I can just color code them like this. So give will be green for good, obviously. And take will be red because, you know, red is bad, I think. And then inside both of these parts, I'm going to add a thing called click detector, like so. And inside of the cache script, I will say workspace dot take dot click detector mouse click connect function. It's going to give us the player who clicked. And then we're just going to say player dot leader, right, dot cache dot value, because value is the property of the int value, plus equals 1. And then we're going to do the same thing except for give, which now that I'm looking at it, should take away cash and not increase it. So I'll say minus equals, and then give will be the plus equals. So right now if I go and play the game, let's see if I click on this. Oh right, my bad, wait, not leader stats, because we named it leader stats. I just mistook it for the variable name. But yeah, doing it like this should be fine. Yep, there we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then if I click on this, it's going to take away the cash. A small issue that I'm now realizing is that it's going to go into the negatives. So we might actually have to do a check for that. So I'm just going to say if player leader stats cash value is less than 1, then just return end, meaning do nothing. So let's see, if I were to click on the red part, nothing happens. If I were to click on the green part, okay, great. And then if I click on the red, okay, there we go, yeah. So 3 cash, 2, 1, 0. But then I keep clicking and nothing's happening. Okay, great. And so, okay, we scripted the currencies. We scripted these, 2 funny little parts that are, affecting the currency. And you might be asking now, okay, what now, right? I mean, we have a currency system, somewhat. We can get cash and we can, expend cash. But isn't this kind of boring? Like, okay, we have some cash, right? And then what? Like, what now? Okay, wow, I can spend the cash on something. It's like, who cares? Like, do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, this is insanely boring, right? Like, every single Roblox developer who has this in their game is a terrible person, and you should go and report their game to Roblox right now for wasting your precious time. Instead, what I'm going to do, right, as the only great developer in Roblox, I'm the only normal person here, trust me, is that I will show you how to actually make a fun system, right? Again, if you're a developer, you better be taking notes. If you're not, just click off the video. Go buy my course as well. $40, link is in the description. But if you're not a developer, follow my Instagram. Also, link is in the description. I have like pictures of my pigeons. They actually got attacked by an eagle today. This is a true story. I went outside, like they were eating the seeds that we spread on the balcony, and I see like an eagle just like ram into our floor, and like they flew off, and like the eagle was like on our balcony. Like a big eagle, like it was insane. Anyways, back to the video. I bet you've probably been thinking about some ways to make this more interesting. Because I did say in the beginning, right, that like, oh yeah, this is boring, and we need to add more interesting elements to it. So I'm sure that some of you who have been thinking throughout the video have actually maybe thought of some cool ideas maybe, or like just at the very least, something interesting that you might want to see implemented. So you probably already guessed this, but I have changes that I think would be really, really cool if implemented. So first of all, this is change number 1, okay? Whenever the player's character gets added to the game, right? So in case you're like confused as to what the difference is between like player added and character added, like I get this common confusion, right? The character is the physical model, right? While the player is the actual like entity, like the data of you. If you're spiritual, you can think of it as like the player is the soul and the character is the physical body, right? But in Roblox. Well, what this character added function does is that whenever the character either joins the game or gets respawned, it fires this connection. So for example, let's say if I wanted to print 1 whenever the character gets added, right? It's going to print 1 right now. And then if I, let's say, reset my character, it's going to print 1 again. There we go. And so what I'm thinking we can do is, what if I go here in the toolbox and I write cash? And yeah, look at that. It's okay, I found this model, stack of cash. Because here's what I'm thinking, right? Let's say I play the game, and let's say I've amassed 10 cash, okay? But then, like, if I die, it's like, where is that cash, you know? Like at least, I don't know, at least when I'm alive, maybe like I'm hiding the cash in my hands, maybe I'm like, you know, keeping the cash invisible with my like powers or whatever. But then if I die, then my powers should be gone. And yeah, look at that. My body literally falls apart. So the cash should also just come out everywhere. That sounds weird, but whatever. So here's what we can do, okay? I'll rename this to cash model. I'm going to put this inside of replicated storage, which is just like, for those unaware, is just a thing to store items without actually having them be rendered in the 3D world. And what I'm going to do is that whenever the character gets added or gets reset, I'm going to say for I equals 1, comma, and then we're going to say cash dot value. Do. And what this is going to do is it's going to make a loop that's going to run whatever code we put inside of here however many times the cash value is equal to. So for example, if the cash value is equal to 0, this loop will just not run because it's going to run 0 times. If cash.value is equal to 10, then the loop will run 10 times. So let's say if I were to like print 2, for example, right, and then I play the game, it doesn't do anything right now because my cash is 0. But then if I set the cash to be, let's say, 8, right, and then I reset my character, it should print something 8 times. Like, so yeah, see, it prints 2, 8 times. And you can probably already see where I'm going with this. What if, whenever the character dies, we take this cash model, we clone it, we put it inside of the workspace, and then we just like position it like where the player's location is. So what we can do is we can say car.humanoid, which is something that's inside of every character. It like handles the health, the speed, like you could think of it as like the controller of the character, right? We can say .died connect function. So then for I is equal to 1, comma, cache dot value, we're going to say local new cache is going to be equal to game replicated storage dot cache model clone. We're going to set the new cache's position equal to the character dot humanoid root part dot position. And the humanoid root part is just like an invisible part in the very middle of the character. We're going to say new cache dot parent is equal to the workspace. And then we can wait, let's say 3 seconds and then just delete the cache, right? So I'll say new cache, destroy. The only problem with doing it like this is that because it's a loop and because we're waiting in the loop, it's going to wait 3 seconds for each cache. So it's going to make the cache, it's going to wait 3 seconds, it's going to destroy the cache, and then it's going to summon the second cache. But that's not what I want to do. I want to summon all the cache at once and then destroy all of them at once 3 seconds later. Now there are some multiple ways to do this. Like for example, we could make a folder in the script and then we could put every cache inside of that folder, and then 3 seconds later, after all of the cache is put in the folder, we can then delete the folder, right? However, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say task.spawn function like so, and then I'll do this. And so what task.spawn does is it basically creates this function as its own thing, right? So it's going to run all of these functions at the same time, and it's not going to wait for every single function. And the last thing that I'm going to do is I'll just say cache.value is equal to 0, right? So whenever the player dies, they lose all of their cache, right? So then let's see if I say this, so cache, let's say 20. If I were to die, yep, amazing, look at that. Now obviously this does have its limitations, right? Like if I go to the server, you know, which is like the main game where all the changes are handled, and let's say I change the cache to be something like 1,000. So right now, let's say I have 1,000 cache. If I happen to accidentally die, amazing. Yeah, so as you can see right now, the game isn't liking the fact that I'm just so amazingly rich, and it's frozen right now. I don't know if I don't know if it's even picking up my microphone anymore, but clearly the game has stopped working. I guess while we are here, me and you know, I told you the story about the pigeons and the eagles before, right? I raised the pigeons. My dad found them as like little babies, and you know, we fed them, you know, like we found some like bird formula. They were very tiny. I have like pictures and videos of them, and they were pretty cute. And then they grew up, and now they're like big pigeons, big fat pigeons, and they're really fast as well. Like they outflew the eagle. I do have pictures of them on my Instagram, so quick plug if you want to see whatever. But yeah, I might have to restart the Roblox studio. Give me a second. All right, so we are back. Obviously, I have to rewrite the script and add the 2 parts again, so I will go do that. But while I'm doing that, I will just say, yeah, again, I do have a course in case you are interested. I teach beginner to expert Roblox studio, blah, blah, blah. So if you're a beginner wanting to script, do go check it out, again, in the description and the pinned comment. All right, so I just finished up the script. I haven't even play tested this yet, so let me actually see if this works. We get the cache, we take away the cache, and if I were to die, oh yeah, great, there we go. We get our little cache. Oh, and actually, I forgot one thing, which was to remove the cache from the player upon death. So cache value is equal to 0. All right, but the next thing that I think will be interesting, okay, is how about this? Cache dot changed, okay? So whenever the value of cache gets changed, and then it gives us the actual new value, so we can just say new val, like so. Then what we could do is we could just say player dot character dot humanoid dot walk speed is equal to, and then I'll set it equal to 16 minus 0.1 times new value. So let's say we have 10 cash. It's going to be 10 times 0.1, which is 1. So the player's new walk speed is going to be 15. So in short, in case you're still not understanding what's happening, the more cash I'll have, the slower my character will walk. So let's actually just see this in practice, right? So I'm walking fine, everything's great. Let me just start spamming the cash, okay? And, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm already walking slower. Let me just keep spamming, keep spamming, keep spamming. Yep, there we go, look at that. And so because it's 0.1, I'd have to get, I believe, 160 cash for my speed to become effectively 0. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, and then the moment it becomes 160, I cannot move at all. Amazing. But then if I take away the cash, look at that. Yep. I'm now moving at a faster speed. And if I just keep spamming the cash, then obviously we're gonna do great. And if I respawn, oh, come on, please. All right, well, okay, the cash spawned in for a little bit, so that's a win. I don't even know why I'm really adding any of this. I guess, okay, to justify the addition of slowing down the player, it actually would encourage the player to spend money instead of, like, saving it up, right? Because, I don't know, like, a good economy always has money flowing, right? No one got rich from just saving their money, right? So that's a quick life lesson for you guys. So it does make it kind of realistic, like, kind of similar to inflation, right? And speaking of inflation, how about we take away 10% of the player's cash every 5 or so seconds? Or actually, no, 5 is too long. While task.wait 1 second, okay? Every 1 second, we're gonna loop through game players gets players. And so I'll just rename this to player, like so. And I'll say player leader stats cash.value is gonna be equal to, or actually, no, we're gonna subtract whatever the value is right now, right? So I'll just copy this. Whatever the value is right now times 0.1, right? So this will get us our desired 10%. So in other words, if we have 0 cash, nothing's gonna happen. If I have 1 cash, let's see. Is it gonna do anything? What if I have multiple cash? Yep, look at that. 9, 8, 7. Yeah, it hits a point where it's just unable to go down, because for like all the numbers higher than 5, Roblox rounds up, but for these numbers it rounds down. So it believes that the number is 0, so it just subtracts 0 from it. But then if I actually were to, let's say, try and get a ton of money, like even just for example, let me go to the server and let me set my cash to be some like incredible amount, like this, right? Yeah, look at that. Damn it, inflation. It's very rampant right now. Oh, and I still can't move. I was about to complain about my keyboard not working. No, this is a genius feature, okay? This is a masterful feature that I will not be removing. Because it's realistic, right? I mean, the more cash you have, the slower you walk, obviously. So yeah, this is gonna stay. And now for the grand finale, the thing that you've all been waiting for. I will actually, because this is so special, I will have to actually change my avatar. I'll call this starter character. I just want a blocky rig, right? I'll put him inside of starter player. So my character will now look like this. And so you may have noticed that cash is often green, right? However, the starter character, for some reason, is this like, you know, ugly gray color. Like, so then within the script, when the character gets changed, right? Obviously, we're gonna, you know, manipulate the value, which let's actually make this 0-1, okay? Just so the player is able to at least get like a couple thousand before he eventually just gets slowed to oblivion. And what I'm gonna do actually is on the very top, I'll say local green, and I'll set it to be these numbers. And I'll set it equal to color 3 from RGB and these numbers. And then I'll do the same thing, but for gray. And the colors for gray, I believe, are just all 127, like so. And so in short, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say local percentage is equal to new value divided by 1,000. So whatever the cash is right now, divided by 1,000. And I'm also gonna say if percentage is more than 1, then percentage is equal to 1 end. So like, I don't want it to go above 1. And then I'll have to do a bit of complex math, but in short, we're gonna loop through the character, right? So for IV in player.character gets children, do. If V is a base part, then I'm gonna say V.color is equal to color3.from RGB. All right, so I did a little bit of math here, okay? So if you want to pause the video and understand what this means, go ahead. But basically, this is gonna turn the character more and more green the closer they get to having 1,000 cash. Now again, I haven't actually playtested this yet. Malformed number. What does this mean? Alright, so I just did some math stuff, so, you know, if you want to look over this, go ahead. But in short, okay, let me share what this is supposed to do. The more cash that I receive, okay, let me just keep spamming, okay? I'm just getting a bunch of cash, you know. Oh yeah, I guess it is subtracting itself. Do you notice anything different about the character? No? Nothing? No changes? Okay, that's fine. Let me just keep clicking cash, clicking cash. Or actually, no, as a matter of fact, let me actually go to my workspace. And let me... Actually, no, as a matter of fact, let me go to the cash over here. And let me just set this to be like 500, okay? Do you notice anything different about the character? Anything at all? No? Yes, this is the final feature. The closer you get to 1,000 cash, the greener you become. So once you go above 1,000 cash, you turn this exact color, right? What this math aims to do, which it does well, is it basically gets to a percentage of how close the cash is to 1,000. So if the cash is 1,000 or more, percentage is equal to 1. And, you know, if it's anywhere in between, so let's say new value is, which is, you know, half of 1,000, then the percentage will be 0.5. Or I guess the right terminology here is decimal, but I'll just keep percentage. And yeah, there we go. Just to make it more fun, I'm gonna set this to be 100, right? So we're gonna add 100 and also remove 100. So now, you know, in a normal game, you would run around and you click a button or you get a dropper and like, wow, cash, amazing. But it's boring, it doesn't do anything. But in my game, look at this, right? You turn green, look at that. And you lose cash due to inflation. Look at it, it's literally hitting rampant right now. And, you know, we're moving slowly because, you know, the cash obviously is slowing us down. Now, if I happen to remove the cash, and let's say I happen to die with a portion of this cash, so, I don't know, let's say I die with, sure, $40 to my name. Then what's going to happen is that, look, all that money gets spread on the floor, and then it disappears. So yeah, to all game developers, I keep saying this, but I hope you've been taking notes. To anyone who isn't a game developer, from now on, whenever you play a game that doesn't have any of these features, please call it out. You know, please report the game to Roblox, report the user, DM me in my server, let me know. I will take matters into my own hands. And yeah, I do just hope, again, that if any actual developers or future developers are watching this, that this hopefully gives you some inspiration as to like what you could change. Because bro, Roblox Cash is so stupid. It is so unbelievably stupid. Like, I know that it works, I know that a lot of games have it, and you know, they can do well, but like, it's just not innovative, and none of these games will ever reach huge success level. I like, Doors keeps coming to my mind as a game that just did something differently for once, and just blew up nearly overnight. It was an insane success. I know Doors isn't really like a currency-based game, but you know what I mean, right? Innovate your game, and you'll get all of the rewards for it. That makes sense. But yeah, as always, we are back to basics. Thank you for watching.